Hello everyone and welcome to this new video. That's the second part of creating your own website with Angular 6. Thank you for all the comments that I received on this video, and we are going to cover everything that's requested in the comments. And thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video also, please do share. So now in this part of the video we are going to add these 3 points. First is adding root for pages, separate static data from template, and move things to a configuration file. We are going to work more on adding micro components, but that's on later part. But initially, as I said, Angular 6 works as components. So if you want to have multiple pages like someone requested in the comments, each page would represent some data. So instead of creating a separate page, what we do is we use that HTML and create a component, and that component get loaded only when you request that components to get loaded. Well, after that you click some button or you click some link, so that page, that content would show up. So let's do that. Okay, how we are going to do is, let's go to our website. So this is where we have this is the logo, this is our main navigation. So what we want is, when I click home, it should show me this section. By default should come to home. When I click on about right now, it shows me this section. When I click gallery, it goes to the gallery section. What it is doing exactly is actually following the HTML linking and scrolling to that section. But we want to freeze the scrolling, and right now in the same area we want to be able to reflect the contents. So how to do it? So for this purpose, Angular has something called routing. So we are going to add a route, so that when I click a link, it follows a route back to that component. So let's see how to do it. So the purpose of this article is video is to also show you where to look for references in case you get stuck. So this is the main code book. All what you need to know about Angular is here. So now we are following this tutorial here, and in this tutorial there is a section called routing. So we'll go to routing. So in this routing we have got a command for generating app routing. So it is suggested, though it is not required, but suggested to have a separate module just for routing alone. So how to do it? Just simply browse to that. Okay, let me just clear this screen. PowerShell is a little slow. Yeah, now ng generate module app routing. So this is our module name, root for routing, and flat means it creates the file right there in the same module rather than creating it in a separate app folder. And then we have specified the name of our module. So what it's going to do is automatically going to add an entry for our routing module in this main module. So let's do this. Okay, let's refer back to our code while we wait for the file to show up here. Okay, this is the main app modules file, and here you will see this is the last component, and after which automatically we will see there is a new entry added by ng CLI for our routing. Okay, let's see. So okay, fine. So we have this added. Okay, this is the routing module added. Now look at this. Let's look at this routing module. What is there? So as of now, it is as simple as a normal regular ng module, but we are going to add some functionality that would allow it to route our components. So how to do that? So let's follow this guide. What does it show? Okay, this is how it looks like right now. So now we have to add router module. So router module and routes, these components, these modules allow and provide the routing service. So just include this and include as part of the exports. So as of now we do not have anything called exports, so let's add exports. We can remove declaration and common module, but let it be there for the time being. It is not going to give you any trouble. Now next it is suggesting is to add roots. So what are roots? Root is nothing but a constant. Okay, declared here. Let's declare the roots here. So this is roots. I can name this anything I want. I can use app roots, but you can roots. So here this is the text which is being referred, or which will be visible once I click this. And here what we have is heroes component. It is the name of the component. So obviously this is what we copied from the example, and we are going to replace this with what we want. So what we want is this: home, about, gallery. So let's copy this from here, and okay, let me change it to lowercase. About, gallery, services, and it is not mandatory, but testimonials, clients, pricing, and that's it. So I want how many? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So there are 7 sections. I would need 7. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and 1 for the default component. Okay, 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, let's change it here. About, services, sequence could be anything, that doesn't matter, but it should point to the correct module. Okay, let's do it. I wanted to, okay, now I will have to include all the components, so we can copy directly all these components from here to the routing component. Okay, let's start with testimonial. Okay, social, we don't need social because part of another component, so we can remove it from here. Pricing, yes, that's a separate component. Introduction is actually about. Header component comes at the home. Gallery component, footer, we don't need a link, it's a permanent. Then content, it could come at services. I could have named it services rather. Clients, okay, here. So we are almost done. And app routing module. Okay, fine, so we are done. As of now, the navigation component we have not yet used, and let's remove it from here. So the last one, so how to redirect. So let's see how to redirect. In order to redirect or give a default, yes, so there is a format that we can use and give a redirection. let's add it as the first option. Redirect this to, so I'm going to redirect this to home. So whenever there is nothing that matches, redirect it to home. So now this is only the links that we have added so far, and you can see roots is nowhere used in here. So every module takes some inputs, that is called imports, do some declaration, and then it exports something. So we want to export this module as a router. So how to do that? So in order to do that, what we want to do is we want to router module for root. We want to make imports here. Under the imports, router module for root, and passed on this parameter roots. So it is going to utilize these roots now. So this is done, routing is done. But let's see, is it working? No. Is it not working? It is not yet working. But see, when I clicked home, by default it is redirected to home. So every time if I click a link, it is going to redirect. So that means the roots are working, redirection is working. Now I have to convert these links to router links. Router links, these are just the special kind of links. So what happens is there is a component called router outlet which is inbuilt. So whenever I click a link, it shows the output of that component in this section. Okay, let's do the change here in an application. First of all, we want to go into navigation. These are the links that we have. So now I'm going to replace this HREF with router links. Okay, it is router link rather, router link, and going to replace this hash with a slash. So it is pointing to home, so I want this to point to home. Well, actually it is case sensitive, so I will have to change the case here as well. So what we just did is mapped all the links. So now these are not simple links, these are router links. We want the output of these links to show up in our common section. So where is our common section? Common section, it was there in the app components. Here are all the components. So now I can simply replace all of this with router outlet. That is, I want everything, every other component to show up at this place when I click that link. So let's see if that is working. Okay, I'm back onto the website. Okay, it is only showing one component. Okay, now let's click on about. Oh, now we are on about. See, even in the URL it is about. So let's change this manually to gallery. Oh, typo. Okay, wait. If I click on gallery, it is working. So, but we want this navigation to remain visible. So in order to do that, we have to separate this navigation section, this shell part, the common section, in one component. That would become part of home. So let's see how can we can do that. So currently it is here. Now in the header component we have got this navigation, but we want this navigation separated. So let's do one thing. Why not to cover okay, what I'll do is I'll go to navigation. We'll copy navigation, everything navigation from here. Come to header component. App navigation part replaced with the actual code, and now except for the banner. Okay, moved everything to navigation. So we're in the home section, the navigation is not there. We will want navigation to show up. Okay, so whenever there is such situation, it is always just to go a step back. So here a level up would come, bring it to component section. So let me do this thing. I'm going to put header here and end of the header section here, and going to include navigation, app navigation here, and let's save this. Let's see how it works. So we have got this navigation here. So if I click on about, yes, that's working. So now what we just did is we separated each component, like if it is a separate page, and this is the way we create pages. And when I click on about and each of these component names within the same area, it updates the content. Next thing we want to do is to be able to see which one is active right now. At the same time, it will be a good idea if we can fix this one somehow, so that when I scroll, it's not going to make much difference, but still. Okay, let's see if we have some CSS that allows me to do it. So we'll refer to the original CSS that we copied. Wait, where is that original CSS? CSS, CSS, styles.css. Okay, nav. Oh, we got something called nav solid. Nav solid. Nav solid. Nav solid. Okay, fine, let's do it. So we'll go to navigation. Here what we have, the navigation is collapse, solid. Okay, does that make any difference? Yes, it does make a difference. I'm not sure what happened to the image, why that image is not showing up. and I believe there is change in the CSS also. Let's save this once again. Inspect. Let's see, there is a code break. App header. Within the header we got the banner, and for the banner we have okay, anyways, we are going to make that work. Style.css. Is it showing any error? Control home. Okay, let's find out. Image. Background. It seems as if it was running from some cache or something, but okay, let's do one thing. Let's update this CSS. Okay, here it is. So it is in assets. Okay. Okay, no problem. This is what happens when you code. Sometimes the things are not directly apparent. Okay. I'm missing on some part here. it should be relative. Okay, no problem. What we can do is we can move things from here and directly move it to styled or CSS and see if that makes a difference. Yes, so it is showing could not find this. Okay, now let's change that. Okay, assets, images, banner images, and banner image 1. Okay, no problem. Let's try it. Okay, I'm going to move rest of the styles as well. Okay, fine. So it seems to have some blockage here. No problem. I'm going to move everything at one place. Should work now. Okay, banner is what I should be looking at. Background size cover. Okay, sometimes these things take your most of the time. Okay, that's the only thing it seems. So this is going to be in the root. Okay, so ideally it has to be assets, images, banner images, and this. So I had to take a break. I needed to answer that important call. So now coming back here, It's still not working. Let's see what could be wrong. The path seems to be okay in the CSS file. So the CSS points to header. Here we only have the banner content. Okay, let's move this header here back in its place. Okay, let's see if it is working now. App component, header component. Oh, yes. Oh, good. Let's see. Yeah, it's working as required. Now what we wanted to know is which tab is active right now. So as we can see, this everything is part of the navigation. So we'll go to navigation component. Okay, now there is a directive available called class, followed by the class name. So we want this link to have active as the class name, additional class name added, and in a condition when let's give it some name, active tab. We have not yet created this variable, but we are going to create this one. And if this is home, okay, so if this is home, make it active. Let's create this variable. So I'm going to go here and we'll create a variable, and the value is home. Okay, home. Let's see. So active has a value variable home, and in that case it should make this as active. So now this is active. But if I click on about gallery, nothing else, because I've not added the code. So we want to have the same functionality here. So how to do it? As of now it is hard coded. We want this value to change. So let's create a function called get active tab. Okay, you can name anything that you want, and this function is going to return a string. It will make it change the value of active tab. So this dot active tab equals to tab name. So what we'll do is we'll pass on tab name as a parameter, and in turn this will, we don't have to return the value, we simply change the value here, and we are going to, okay, done, home. Okay, let's code it here in the navigation. So I want a click function here. Click on click, call the function. Function name is get active tab, and pass on the value home. So let's copy this, and we will do it for all the other links. We could have automated this part of code as well, but we're going to do it next. Okay, about gallery services, testimonials, clients, pricing. and same I will copy here. So every time there is a change in the name, it is going to look like, let's check. Okay, oh yes, it's working. So whenever I'm clicking, so let's say I'm in gallery and I refresh, so it is coming back to home, though in the address bar it is showing gallery, pages gallery. We'll have to figure out, we'll have to create some smart function that does that, but we'll keep it simple here. Okay, so this part is done. So we completed routing, routing for pages. Separate static data from template. Now that's something we want to achieve now. So let's say you have been using a WordPress website that allows you to configure so many settings, that allows you to change images, background, so many settings, but all that gets saved into database. So what we are going to do here is we are going to first separate the content that we see into some organized data structure like JSON, and then use that information to show the text on the components. So let's start with header. So in the header we have got something here and some explanation here, and then we got a button with some text. We could have changed the background as well. So 1, 2, 3. Let's start with these three things. So let's create a variable first. So I'm going to create a variable called header, and that equals to heading. Let's give it some heading, my website, intro text. Well, let's keep it simple, heading text. It's always suggest to keep it in lowercase. Let's copy what we have there. So I'll copy this exactly and put it here, comma, let's put it into double quotes so that we are not going to miss anything. So that's one single text. Ignore the error that is from the ESLint. Next is button text. I'm just showing an example, could be anything. So do some action, okay, and let's put a so I created a variable called header. It's more like a JSON data, and then there are something. So if I have to access this, I can do header dot heading. This is called dot walking, so we'll do dot walking here. So let's replace the content here. So we'll put it in double quotes, header dot heading. Header dot text. What was that? Heading text. Okay, and finally button text. So this header dot button text should work. Yes, and also we can change this href. Let's create one more variable called header dot link, button link. So button link, that becomes okay. Let's do it. Let's okay, home. Let's redirect it to home. The thing is looking for single quotes only, so let's change it to single quotes so that it would show some less red and is easy for eyes. Okay, let's save this now and see if there is a change. Okay, we'll go to home. Yes, it shows what we added. Do some action. If I click do run session, you can see at the bottom the link is localhost home. So this is how you separate the data. Now we can do similar things for all the other sections, but let's take a step ahead. Okay, what we are going to do is we are going to move it into some central page. Let's call it configuration. Okay, let's create. Now we are now moving to a separate concept called service. Move things to a configuration file. Okay, let's copy it from here and let's add a new file in the root. So I'm going to make this file configuration.ts. So it is just a simple file where I'm going to export. Oh, wait. Yeah. Export constant configuration, and should be like this configuration. Okay, configuration equals to this. Export constant by the name configuration, and this is the detail. So let's change this and make it header, so we don't have to make much changes. So we have header configuration. Similarly, I can add for others as well, like for about and all those things. Okay, let's save this. Okay, now I'm going to refer this information in header. How to do that? Well, it's easy. I could have simply included that file and referred, but what we want to demonstrate here is that this configuration file could be something which is being offered by the backend server. So backend server offering just the configuration, and that is dynamically changing the layout and everything on the page. So let's generate a service that will help me. Generate service. This is the shortcut for generating a service, and let's call this as config. ng generate service config. So I'm going to use config service. Okay, now while it is getting generated, so what is good about a configuration services is, or a service is, that allows you to share common things. Maybe it will allow you to fetch data or post data to some backend server, so something common which can be used by all the components. So okay, we have the configuration service available here now. Okay, config service. Let's include this service in our app module. So services come here. Okay, import config service from config service. So imported the config, made it part of the app modules, and declared that it's a provider, it provides service. So now it will be available to all the components. Back to the header component. Now we want to retrieve this information using the configuration service. So in configuration service, let's add a function first. So let's create a function called get config. Okay, so here is this function get config, and but it is okay, but we have to include the file import config, what was it, configuration, yes, import configuration from configuration. So imported the configuration. So what it would do, it simply return this dot config. So let's make a variable called config equals to configuration. So everything that is there in configuration now is part of config. So every time we call this function, it would return the complete configuration. Okay, so now how to use it? So we have to declare, let's create, in order to use the service, we'll have to import the service config service from config service. Okay, and include private instance of the same. Let's call it config of type config service. So that creates a private instance for just for usage of this app, this module, or sorry, the component. It's confusing at times. So now, okay, let's create a function called get header. We only want header, so for this component. So in this function we are going to return this dot config dot get config and header. So what am I gonna do? What we're going to do is we call this function, okay, and let's change this to something like this. We are going to structure, we are only specifying the structure so that there is no type mismatch. So we want our header in this format, and we are going to fetch this information from here, and we want to do it at the time of this component initialization. So this dot get header. So whenever you start this component, I'm going to call this function. This function is turn going to call this service and going to call the function get configuration. And after it is done with this, it's going to give us just the header section of that area. So let's see how does it work now. Is it still working? Yeah, it is showing function string native code function string native code. Okay, why is that? Because we created this variable, we never assigned the output. Okay, so this dot header becomes heading string, heading text string, button text string, button that is not assignable to type heading. Okay, or maybe we can do something like this, make it a blank thing. Will it work now? It should, and it did. So same thing we can do for rest of the components, and instead of keeping this configuration separately, let's keep all the sections here. Okay, so this way we can pretty much do anything, and we just have to change the configuration file, and that would make changes to everything on the page. So I hope this has given a little more clarity on how things work. So now we are going to add these components as well. In the next section we are going to convert these small little sections, I would say the CSS formatted divs and all will convert them further into some component. And like we converted this social section into a module, we are going to convert, so I'm going to cover that section separately in one single video. So it is just for you to get started, and you should practice and see what all you will be able to do from this. Okay, and let's connect in the next video, wherein we are going to talk about rest of the sections and convert them and utilize them as small little components. So component within a component. So thanks for watching. Keep commenting, keep requesting what you want clarity about, so that I can add and cover that in the next coming videos. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you.